Have you heard there might be a little snow coming somewhere along the way? We'll talk about it, obviously. How we'll look at that snow when it gets here. The MaxTrack Live Doppler, 11:15. Not much going on. So what's going on, what we're talking about? It's a quiet cold front that's going to come through tomorrow. Doesn't have much weather associated with it, aside from a wind shift. But it's going to lead to the noise that we're going to have on Thursday. And that noise looking interesting. And we're going to talk about all that coming up in a second. Quick weekend warm-up before the next surge of cold arrives next week. So what do we got going on here? We're setting Thursday up for you. So we're still essentially almost 2 days out. So what we are confident about, most of us are going to see snow. There may be some folks up closer to the Ohio River that may not get much out of this, but just about all of us are going to get snow. And not only that, it's snow that should accumulate for you. Pretty much all snow. We're going to be firmly ensconced into the Arctic air by the time the snow gets here, so it's either snowing or it's not doing anything. We don't see a transition to rain, which, by the way, is usually cutting across Kentucky, and the most difficult thing we always have to forecast because it's a narrow line, couple of degrees, and it changes weather completely depending on which side of that line you're on. Don't have to worry about that this go around. It is going to get really cold, and we're centering this on Thursday evening, so it's the evening commute, plus or minus about 6 hours either way. So from noon to about midnight, again, with that prime time being likely right around the morning commute. We're still not completely confident, getting a little more so on the track and the intensity and how much you're going to see in your backyard. We're going to try and change a little bit of that coming up. So first things first, let's give you how we get there. First thing is a strong storm. This thing has got a lot of isobars. That means it's powerful. It's got a lot of wind to it. That's headed up into the lakes. It's not directly affecting our weather, but what it is doing, it's sending that cold front through. And as that happens, that sets the stage for this. The Arctic high to come down. Now you see how these isobars are not packed around low pressure, they're packed around high pressure. That's how you can tell this is an Arctic high. Well, at the leading edge of that, you've got this wave traveling along the periphery of that Arctic high. It begins to spread some snow out, perhaps as early as Thursday morning for some, but really the bulk of this comes in from noon on toward the evening hours. You also notice that this low is not as strong as its predecessor was. So this is a weaker wave. So it's also moving at a pretty good clip. Bottom line is it gets in and out fairly quickly for us. So you're putting the swath of snow down. You notice there's a narrow, darker corridor showing up. That's what's called a deformation band. You really don't know exactly where that's going to be until basically it forms. But what the model is trying to tell you at this point is be on the lookout for a swath. 10, 15 miles wide, where you can end up with a much higher snow total. So we're labeling this as a general snow forecast. From I-64, the Bluegrass Parkway north, let's go about 1 to 3. From I-64 south toward the Hal Rogers and the Cumberland, 2 to 4. But within that, there could be that narrow little itty-bitty swath where you could see significantly more snow than that. And by the time you get to the Virginia and Tennessee border counties, 3 to 6 inches of snow. So for most of this, it's a nuisance. It'll slow you down. For folks south and east and where that little narrow swath is, it could be a little bit more impactful, but I just want to show you the cold air that we're pulling from. Current wind chills up here in the northern plains, this is the Arctic air, are now running 20 to 30 degrees below zero. Mainly clear sky tonight is windy, low 30s. Tomorrow, another windy day, upper 40s. That's a partly to mostly cloudy sky. Then we get you to Thursday. The snow arrives will be around 30, mid-20s after a bitterly cold morning on Friday. Weekend warm-up with rain on Sunday. More LAX 18 News right after this.